I slammed the door to the coat closet so hard the brass hook rattled loose from the wall. But it was too late. Their voices carried through the thin panel like knives slicing butter. "Alina's got that bonus coming. We just nudge her toward the co-op on East 78th. Tell her it's an investment for the family legacy," my father whispered, his gravelly Brooklyn accent thick with greed. And my mother, that saccharine southern lilt she'd never shaken from her Georgia roots, chimed in. "Poor thing's been carrying the weight since that mess with the IRS. She owes us for cleaning it up." Owes us? After I'd confessed to their tax fraud 5 years ago, rotting in a plea-bargained hell while they skated free on technicalities. I pressed my ear to the wood, heart pounding like a jackhammer in a subway tunnel. And that's when I decided, tonight, the scales tip back, even if it means burning the whole damn house down. You think family is blood? It's a scam wrapped in nostalgia, served with a side of guilt trips and passive-aggressive texts about remembering where you came from. I'm Alina Reyes, 32, mid-level exec at a fintech startup in Midtown, grinding through 12-hour days debugging algorithms that keep Wall Street fat cats richer. My life was a straight line from Columbia econ grad to corner office streamer until the family vortex sucked me back in. We grew up in a cramped walk-up in Astoria, Queens, back when my dad hustled as a small-time accountant for bodega owners dodging audits, and mom flipped real estate leads from a landline in the kitchen. Elena, my golden child sister, 2 years younger, was the artist, the free spirit, flitting through Parsons with daddy's loans and mommy's alibis. Me? I was the fixer, the one who balanced the books when dad's creative deductions caught the Fed's eye. It started small, that betrayal. A whisper here, a favor there. But 5 years back, it exploded. Dad's side gig laundering cash for a crew of off-the-books contractors, nothing mobster level, just greasy enough to ping the IRS radar. I found the ledgers hidden in his sock drawer. Numbers that didn't add up, like a bad Excel pivot. Confronted him one rainy Tuesday after Elena's latest gallery flop in Chelsea left her couch surfing our parents' place. "Fix it, Lena," he begged, eyes wet like a kicked dog. "You're the smart one. Elena can't handle stress. It'll kill her dreams." Mom sobbed about family honor, how we'd all end up on the street like her cousins in Atlanta during the '08 crash. So I did it. Falsified my own returns, took the heat as the rogue junior accountant in a fabricated narrative, pleaded guilty to misdemeanor evasion, paid the fines for my savings, did 6 months community service logging hours at a food bank in the Bronx. They got a slap, probation, no jail. And Elena? She painted a triptych called Redemption's Shadow about my sacrifice, sold it for 20 grand to some hedge fund douche in the Hamptons. I rebuilt. Climbed the ladder at NeoVault, coding security protocols that make banks sweat less about hacks. Bought my own shoebox condo in Hell's Kitchen, the kind with exposed brick and a view of the Hudson that reminds me I'm not trapped. Dated a string of nice-enough guys, tech bros, a lawyer from Jersey, who bailed when the family drama leaked out. "You're intense," Alina once said, like intensity was a curse. But I thrived on it, that coiled spring in my gut, turning betrayal into fuel. Until last week, when Mom called with her honeyed hook, "Darlin', Elena's got this opportunity, a studio in the Village, but the market's brutal. Thought you might co-sign. Being the big sis with a steady job." Co-sign. That's code for screw you over with fine print. I flew in from a work trip in Seattle. Landed at JFK with jet lag buzzing like bad espresso. And crashed at the folks' upgraded 2-bedroom in Sunnyside, courtesy of my restitution checks funneled back into their nest egg. Dinner was the usual. Dad's overcooked brisket. Mom's kale salad pretending we were Californians. Elena scrolling Zillow on her phone. All doe-eyed innocence. It's not just an apartment. Lena, she cooed, her voice like velvet over razor wire. It's my canvas. A space to create without the noise. Noise meaning me, the grindstone sister who dared question her last investment, a van for her nomadic photography phase that ended up totaled in a ditch outside Joshua Tree. I played along, nodding through the wine, until they cleared plates and migrated to the living room for the pitch. I excused myself for the bathroom, but detoured to the hall closet, old habit from kid days, hiding report cards. That's when I heard it. Not just the apartment scam, but the rot underneath. Dad chuckling low, with Elena's name on the deed. We leverage her credit for the down payment, then flip it in 2 years when the market ticks up. Elena gets the rent-free pad. We get the equity. Mom. And if she balks, remind her about the audit. How we protected her from deeper charges. Protected? They pinned accessory lies on me to dilute their trail. Made me the fall guy so Elena could keep her student loans clean for that artistic future. The secret I'd buried. The one where I'd confessed not just for Dad's mess, but to shield Elena from her own sideline. Ghostwriting term papers for rich kids. A felony waiting to bloom. My blood turned to battery acid. I gripped the doorknob, knuckles white, visions flashing. Elena's smug smile at my sentencing hearing. Dad's backslap afterward like I'd aced a test. Mom's crocodile tears masking relief. Struck first? Hell yes. But not with screams or lawsuits. Too clean. Too American dream.
No.
I went darker, scheming in the shadows like they'd taught me. That night, while they slept off the Merlot, I slipped into Dad's home office. His ancient desktop hummed like a relic. Password still, Elena 1993. Jackpot. Scan docs. Snapped pics on my phone. Forged W-2s from my confession era. Emails to a shady lender about family pooling assets. Even a draft while leaving the bulk to Elena, me getting the sentimental items. Like Mom's costume jewelry. By dawn, I was wired on black coffee from the Greek spot down the block. Plotting in a vinyl booth sticky with syrup ghosts. Revenge isn't a punch, it's a slow bleed. Controversial as hell because who roots for the daughter dismantling her own bloodline? But fairness? That's a myth in this country, where the house always wins unless you rig the game. First move, anonymous tip to the co-op board on East 78th. I crafted it from a burner email, detailing Elena's instability, pulled public records of her evictions. That DUI she buried with Dad's lawyer buddy. Potential liability, I wrote, attaching blurred pics of her art that looked more like tantrum scribbles. By noon, their dream listing ghosted them, board citing, vetting concerns. Panic hit like a nor'easter. Mom's texts, what happened?
Honey?
The realtors baffled. Elena's call. Voice cracking. Lena.
You didn't.
Say something. Did you? I feigned shock. Suggested a backup in Brooklyn, cheaper. But practical. Dad cornered me that evening over takeout lo mein. His face a roadmap of suspicion. You hear anything? Some bullshit rumor. I met his eyes. Steel to flint. Maybe it's karma.
Pop.
For all the shortcuts. He laughed it off. But the seed was planted. Doubt worming in like termites in drywall. Word count crept up in my mind, 1,000 down. But the story was just uncoiling. Elena flipped first. Her artist facade cracking into accusations at family Zoom the next week, me remote from my office. Them clustered in Sunnyside like a bad sitcom. You're jealous. Alina. Always have been. Since I got the talent and you got the spreadsheets. Talent? The girl who'd majored in fiber arts and minored in daddy's dime. I let it slide. But inside, the plan metastasized. Phase 2. The buried secret unearthed. I hired a PI out of Craigslist, ex-cop named Rizzo. Smelled like stale smokes and regret, for $2,000 wired anonymously. Dig on Elena Reyes. Financials and priors. Discreet. His report landed in my inbox 48 hours later. Bingo. She'd been siphoning from Mom's emergency fund, a joint account I'd seeded post-audit, to fund a coke habit masked as networking parties in the meatpacking district. And the kicker? Text to a dealer linking back to Dad's old contractor crew. The circle closed. Betrayal looping like a noose. But here's the controversy brewing. Was I avenging? Or just as mired in the muck? I'd taken the fall willingly once. Love twisted into loyalty.
Now.
Exposing them meant dragging my own sins into the light. That plea deal could have been appealed if I'd fought dirtier.
Still.
I pressed on. Dropped the PI's file to a lifestyle blogger Elena stalked on Insta. The kind who thrived on exposé threads about trust fund posers. Anonymous source, rising artist Elena Reyes, scandalous secrets? It posted at midnight. Viral by breakfast. Hashtags flying like art world hypocrite. Elena's phone blew up. Galleries ghosted her mid-pitch. She showed at my door that afternoon. Rain-soaked and feral. Mascara rivers down her cheeks.
You bitch.
This is you, isn't it? After everything. After I visited you every weekend in that hellhole service gig. Visited?
Twice. Max.
With lattes and pity. Everything. I echoed, blocking the threshold. Like how you let me fry for your ghostwriting scam. Or Dad's laundering that you enabled with your parties? Her eyes widened, secret spilled. The one I'd intuited, but never confirmed. She lunged, not violent, but a desperate grab for my wrist. We were kids. You were supposed to protect us. The strong one, strong one. The words echoed Mom's pleas from 5 years back. I shook her off, door clicking shut like a vault. Inside, doubt flickered. Was this strength? Or just a mirror of their scheming? The parents mobilized next. A tag team guilt offensive over Sunday gravy at Nana's old recipe. Dad leaned in, fork stabbing linguine. Family sticks. Lena. This blogger crap, it's killing Elena. She's talking therapy. Maybe worse. Mom's hand on mine. Clammy. We all have regrets. Baby. Like how we leaned on you too hard back then. But blood's thicker. Thicker than the ink on my rap sheet? I smiled. Saccharine as pie. Absolutely. That's why I'm buying the apartment for Elena. But on my terms. Their faces lit like Christmas. Hook set. I countered with a generous offer, cosign, but title in my name, with clauses tying it to reparations, monthly audits of their finances, restitution payments from the equity flip. They balked, but desperation bit. Signed digitally that night. Elena sulking in the corner like a deposed prom queen. Sealing the deal felt like swallowing glass, sharp, inevitable. A temporary win laced with the promise of shatter. The apartment closing dragged through a foggy Tuesday in November. Air crisp with that pre-Thanksgiving bite that turns Manhattan sidewalks into wind tunnels. We stood in the lawyer's office on Lexington. A sterile box of mahogany and fluorescent hum. Elena fidgeting in her thrift store chic. Parents beaming like they'd birthed a unicorn.
Me?
I initialed the stack with a Montblanc dad-gifted post-audit for the fixer, engraved, each stroke a thread in the noose tightening. To new beginnings, the attorney toasted with tepid, sparkling water, oblivious to the farce. Outside, cabs honked like geese in heat, and I wondered if this was peak American delusion. Families forging ahead on lies. Equity as the great equalizer. Elena moved in that weekend. A whirlwind of IKEA flat packs and vision boards plastered with Polaroids of her process. I footed the mover's bill, $2K, petty cash for my bonus, and crashed the housewarming uninvited, bearing a bottle of Veuve she'd never appreciate. Sis, she hugged air-kissed, eyes darting like cornered rats. You didn't have to, but she knew I did. The place was a third-floor walk-up in the East Village. Not the village dream, but close, exposed beams, clawfoot tub, rent-stabilized whispers from the super. $350,000 down payment, my credit as collateral. Their contributions, a smokescreen of IOUs. I toured the space, noting the fire escape for late-night exits, the thin walls echoing neighbors' arguments like Greek chorus warnings. Back at Neovault, the grind sharpened my edge. Deadlines loomed, deploying a blockchain patch that'd save the firm millions, and I buried the family venom in code, debugging loops that mirrored my own. If betrayal, then expose. If deny, then escalate. Coworkers noticed the shift. My boss, a Silver Fox ex-Goldman guy named Harlan, pulled me aside during happy hour at the Dead Rabbit. You're on fire, Reyes. But that edge, it's gonna cut you too. Over IPAs. I spilled fragments, not names. Just the family heist vibe. He nodded. Sage as Yoda in pinstripes. Revenge is a dividend with diminishing returns. Cash out while you're up. Wise. But blood doesn't compound like crypto. The antagonist in this farce? Elena. Oh yes, Machiavellian minx wrapped in boho scarves, flipping loyalties like flapjacks at IHOP. She'd always been the chameleon, sweet to mom for cash, sassy to dad for alibis, invisible to me until she needed a scapegoat. Post-move. She leaned hard, texts at 2 a.m. Lena, the super's a creep, can you talk tough guy? Or forgot utilities, Venmo? I paid. Each ping a reminder of the clauses buried in the deed, any default. And the place reverted to me, with liens on their assets. But she schemed subtler. I sensed it in the sidelong glances at family dinners. Now migrated to her pad, takeout sushi on paper plates, pretense of upward mobility. Then the first flip, 2 weeks in, she confessed, over rose on her fire escape, city lights twinkling like distant jury judgments. I know what you did. With the blogger.
The PI.
Wind whipped her hair, dramatic as a Scorsese close-up. I sipped, non-committal. And her voice cracked, but eyes gleamed, crocodile sparkle. It hurt.
But.
I get it. We both took hits for them. Truce. Truce? She extended a joint, pilfered from some Bushwick burnout, and we passed it in silence. THC fogging the Hudson haze. For a beat. I bought it, sisterhood reclaimed, the betrayed bonding over parental poison. We laughed about dad's comb-over, mom's fake yoga poses from YouTube. But Dawn sobered me. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown. Deed tweak?
Call.
My blood chilled. She'd lawyered up, sniffing for loopholes. I struck back. Controversial calculus. Leaked the co-op tip's origin to a podcaster buddy from college. The type who monetized family dysfunction with true crime vibes. The scam within. how one daughter's revenge backfired. It dropped mid-commute. Commuters glued to AirPods as my anonymized tale aired. The audit. The apartment ploy. Elena's artistic facade. Listeners ate it up. Comments fracturing like fault lines. Team Elena, parents suck, versus she's toxic, let it go. Girl. Polarization primed. The family imploded at Thanksgiving, early, at a cheesecake factory in Times Square. Neutral ground amid tourist chaos. Dad exploded first. Napkin crumpled like his dignity. This podcast you're doing? Jesus. Lena. We're blood. Mom dissolved into sniffles. Dabbing with a linen square. Why air laundry? We love you girls equally. Elena? She flipped again. Allying with them in a heartbeat. Her voice venom sweet. See? This is you. Elena, always the martyr. Dragging us down to feel tall. Tall? I was 5'4" in heels. But the room shrank. Breaths heavy as the pumpkin spice lattes steaming on the table.
Irrite pas.
Voice steady as a deposition. Equally? I did time for your scams. Elena. Ghost papers. Coke runs. Rizzo's got the receipts. And you? Pop, laundering through her events.
Mom.
Signing off on the lies. Gasps rippled. A nearby family paused mid-cheesecake, sensing drama fodder. Elena's face drained. Then flared, betrayal's mask slipping to rage. You hired a PI on me? My own sister? She bolted, coat flapping like surrender flags. Parents trailing with half-eaten plates abandoned. The aftermath? A media microstorm. Elena's Insta went dark. Then relaunched with healing journey posts, yoga retreats in Tulum. Funded how? My Venmo alerts ping suspiciously. At work, Harlan pulled strings for a sabbatical. Paid. 2 months to detox. I holed up in my condo. Hudson views mocking my isolation. Scrolling threads debating my heroism. Was I righting wrongs? Or weaponizing pain? The secret festered. That audit wasn't just Dad's. Elena's ghostwriting fed his books. A symbiotic, wrought-eyed enabled by staying silent.
Now.
With the deed as my sword, I prepped the killing blow. Foreclosure whispers to the bank. Citing irregular income from her art gigs. But doubt clawed. As a blackout in the subway. Late nights. I'd pace the fire escape, ironic echo of hers, replaying her truce offer. Was there redemption in the wreckage? Or just more graves? Harlan called. Voice gravel over gin. Twist coming?
Kid.
Families don't end clean. He was right. Christmas Eve. Elena showed solo. Key I'd given her 4 emergencies, turning the lock like contrition. She carried a canvas, my face, abstracted in oils. Thorns for hair. Eyes like storm drains. I painted this for you.
Before.
Everything. We sat on the thrift sectional. Mulled wine steaming. And she spilled. The flips weren't malice, but survival. Dad pitted us. Lena. Made me the star so you'd fix the breaks. But the coke? That was me drowning the guilt. Your trial. The visits I faked. Faked? The lattes. The pep talks, props in her performance. I softened. Controversial mercy. Then fight with me. Against them. Alliance forged in tears and turpentine. We plotted. Exposed the parents' full ledger to the feds. Anonymous drop from a VPN in my condo. But Elena hedged, eyes flicking to her phone. One condition, the apartment stays mine. No liens. Fair? Hell no. But blood's pull tugged. I agreed. A decision that'd haunt. Readers split. Sucker punch or sisterly grace. The drop happened New Year's. Confetti bursting over Times Square as I hit send. Feds stirred. Quiet raids in January. Dad's office tossed. Mom's yoga alibis shredded. Elena's loyalty held.
For a week.
Then the flip. Ultimate betrayal. Her scheming cresting like a Ponzi peak. She lawyered with Dad's old crony. Countersuing for emotional distress, claiming my leaks tanked her career. The petition landed on my desk at Neovault. Coffee spilling like accusations. Defamation. Harassment, seeking $500,000, plus the property. $500,000? From my blood sweat equity. The room spun. Betrayal's vertigo. She'd played me. Truce a Trojan horse. Painting a lure to map my soft spots. Harlan's words echoed, diminishing returns. But I wasn't cashed out yet. The lawsuit hit like a gut punch from a ghost, Elena's signature scrawled at the bottom. Elegant loops hiding the knife twist. I stared at the papers in my kitchen. Dawn light slanting through blinds like prison bars. The Hudson, a indifferent slate below. $500,000 damages. Plus replevin for the apartment, reclaiming it as fraudulently induced. Fraudulently induced? After I'd bankrolled her escape hatch? The controversial calculus peaked. Sue back. Drag the family skeleton parade public. Or fold. Let the golden child feast on my carcass? America loves a underdog. But root for the sister torching her own bridge?
Nah.
That's the debate fodder. The gray where heroes bleed into villains. I lawyered up fast, Harlan's referral. A shark named Tessa, from Foley and Lardner. All power suits and Pittsburgh steel. We countersue for breach. Emotional manipulation. Nail M on the original fraud, she growled over Zoom. Screen sharing exhibits like war maps. The audit files. PI report. Even Elena's healing. Insta posts geotagged to luxury spots screaming embezzlement. Cost? 20 grand retainer. But vengeance budgets like revenge porn, pricey. Addictive. Meanwhile, the Fed circled. Dad hauled in for questioning. His comb-over wilting under fluorescent grillings. Mom called. Voice a warble. Lena, please call it off. He's breaking. Breaking? Like I hadn't shattered on that courtroom gavel? Elena went radio silent. But her flips leaked through proxies, a tearful interview on a local NPR knockoff. My sister's shadow. Art. Addiction. And alienation. Listeners lapped it up, painting me the jealous harpy, her the phoenix from ashes. Comments fractured further. Elena's a bully, let Elena heal, versus. Wake up. It's classic narc family dynamics, Elena's the survivor. Polarization pulsed. My inbox a battlefield of strangers picking teams. At Neovault, sabbatical extended. I coded freelance, ghost jobs for startups. Algorithms that predicted market crashes, but not sibling sabotage. Nights blurred into bourbon neat. Harlan's bar tabs my confessional. Twist it.
Kid.
Make the revenge the redemption arc. The antagonist's moxie peaked in deposition prep, Tessa prepping me like a prize fighter. Sparring hypotheticals in her Tribeca loft. She'll cry victim. Elena. Flip 2 I was coerced too. Blame the parents. Bond over shared trauma.
Bond?
After the lawsuit got shot? But Elena's scheming ran deeper. A hydra of decisions that'd split spines. Was she puppet or puppeteer? The secret I'd buried resurfaced in Discovery. Her ghostwriting wasn't kid stuff. It had funneled plagiarized theses to Dad's clients. A money launder pipeline I'd unknowingly oiled by confessing solo. You shielded her twice, Tessa said. Eyes narrowing. Once in the plea. Now, with the deed. Controversial as hell, self-sabotage or saintly. Climax brewed in the courthouse on Center Street. That Beaux-Arts behemoth swallowing souls since Tammany Hall. February frost bit the air. Protesters milling outside like extras in a Scorsese flick. Justice for Artists signs clashing with my anonymous tipsters waving expose the scam placards. Inside. The gallery hummed. Dad in ill-fit suit. Mom clutching pearls like rosaries. Elena poised in minimalist black. Lawyer a weasel from K Street.
Me?
Pencil skirt. Low bun. Face a mask of Midwestern stoic. Colombian roots be damned. Judge Harlan, small world. My boss's golf buddy, called order. Gavel cracking like thunderclap. Testimony tore open wounds. Dad first. Crumbling under cross. It was business. Your Honor, immigrant hustle. Alina knew. She fixed it. Fixed it? I took the stand next. Voice steady as Python syntax. I confess to protect them all. Elena's side gigs included. Ghostwriting fed the books. Her parties. Washed the cash. And the apartment? A ploy to leverage my credit. Bury their debts in my name. Gasps rippled. Elena's eyes locked mine. A storm of fury and fear? Her turn. Tears on cue. Voice quavering. Alina's obsessed. Hired spies. Leaked my vulnerabilities. I flipped because I had to survive her rage. Flipped? She detailed the truce. The painting, twisting it to manipulation tactic. Jurors shifted. Pen scratching, Team Alina or Elena. No clear villain. Just a morass of mutual maiming. The revenge crested not in verdict, but cross-exam fireworks. Tessa cornered her. MS. Reyes. These texts, post-truce. To your father's lawyer. Deed exploit. Full custody? Care to explain? Elena faltered. Makeup cracking.
I panicked.
Thought she was bluffing. Bluffing? The courtroom buzzed. Judge sustaining objections like traffic cop. Dad interjected. Unsolicited. Desperate. Enough. It was me. I pushed the scams. Pitted you girls. Alina. Forgive, Elena. Confess. Chaos erupted. Bailiff barking. Mom fainting into smelling salts. Polarizing peak. Was Dad's outburst absolution? Or deflection? Readers argue till dawn. Heroic patriarch or cornered rat. Recess bled into sidebar deals. Smoke-filled backrooms, sans the smokes. Tessa whispered. They'll settle, feds leaning hard.
Indeed.
By dusk. Terms hashed. Drop the suit. Deed to me clean. Parents plead to misdemeanors. Probation redux. Restitution wired monthly. Elena? Community service at that Bronx food bank I'd slaved. Plus therapy logs audited. No jail. But reputations in tatters. Dad's clients fled. Mom's yoga circle ghosted. We signed in a fluorescent anteroom. Pens scratching finality. Elena's eyes avoiding mine like plague. This isn't over, she hissed low. Blood remembers. The twist landed post-verdict. A gut twist grenade. March thaw. Cherry blossoms mocking in Central Park. I got the envelope, no return address. Elena script. One last flip.
Sis.
For the full truth. Inside. A USB, grainy footage from her fire escape cam. Angled at my condo across the way? No. Wedding vows. Grainy but clear. Me and Javier. My college flame. Eloping in Vegas '09. Annulled after his OD. Buried secret. I'd covered his dealing ties to Dad's crew. Took the audit heat partly for that ghost. But the file? Time-stamped recent, her accessing sealed records, courtesy of a bribed clerk.
Why send?
Payback. Or parting gift. I confronted her at the apartment, my apartment now. Keys reclaimed. She answered in paint-splattered overalls.
Gaunt as a Giacometti.
Watched you grieve him alone. Lena. Thought you deserved the loop closed. Grief? Javier's ghost haunted my code breaks. But her gift felt like shrapnel. Why now? After the suit. She shrugged. Controversial candor. Hated you for shining light on my dark.
But
We're the same. Schemers saving each other from them. Same? I could torch her world. Leak the Javier tie. Drag us both under. Or mercy. Delete the drive. Ending? Bike tragic. The kind sparking bar fights. I walked. Drive in pocket. Hudson swallowing the sun. Parents faded to Florida rentals. Elena to a sublet in Bushwick, painting sister duets, ironic abstracts of fractured faces.
me?
Back at Neovault. Harlan toasting the warrior return. But the scales? Tipped. Yet unbalanced. Revenge a hollow high. Debate eternal. Did I win? Or just perpetuate the scam? Blood's thicker than ink. But thinner than resolve. In America, that's the real hustle, forgiving the unforgivable. Or flipping the table forever. Your call.